Hi everyone. How are you? Happy weekend to everybody. I am glad to be here today. I will be hosting the founder of the, the first Black owned digital bank in Canada, and he is a Nigerian. So I'm very, very excited to be hosting Mr. Kingsley Madu on my show today, and we're going to be talking about, the inspiration behind Expedier App. What inspired him to, of course, create that app for the community, for the Black community in the whole of North America. So, in a couple of minutes, of course, my guest will be joining us. But I hope everyone is fine. Let me know how you're doing. My guest is here, right in time for the session. So let me know how you're doing. How was your weekend? Mr. Madu is on standby, waiting to go live on Facebook. Okay. All right, Mr. Madu, we're about to go live now. I'm adding you to the stage in a few minutes. All right. Yes. Hi. Yeah, I cannot hear you. I don't know if it's from my hand, but please check your audio. Should be on. Let me ask those online if they can hear me. Can you hear me? Okay. That should be a problem. Just let's give it a quick.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Happy weekend to you.
Same to you. Happy weekend to you. Happy weekend to you.
Thank you for joining us today.
Happy
How
to
was
be
your
here. Thank you for having me. My week was very interesting. Really, I must say, it's been a very interesting week. I'm sure you can see the excitement all over my face.
Absolutely. So, what was the highlight of your week?
Oh, well, they're gonna make me release some expo that I don't want to release yet, but it's fine.
Don't give us all the
It's fine. It's fine. I'll give you the expo.
Okay.
So, again, as we work towards providing affordable and easy banking to our folks here, right? We closed the deal that's going to allow us begin to offer easy auto insurance on Expedier.
Oh,
Right. So it means that the next time you open up your app, you would see an offer that's going to be way cheaper, way more affordable than any auto offer you're going to get across the nation. That's going to be at least 5% cheaper, discounted rates for everyone who goes through Expedier. So that was the highlight of the week. Closing that out alone was immense. So it was a good week.
Amazing. And how does it make you feel, like, knowing that you've used this app? I remember when I met you a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned, you've been on this for 4 years, and to see your dreams, now aligning the way you want it to be. How does it feel?
Well, whereas it makes me feel good, but I like to answer that question with relating it to how it makes our users feel, right? Relating it to how it makes our users feel. And to me, that is the ultimate. When I get that feedback that, oh my, wow, this app works. Oh my, wow, it does this. Oh my, wow, it does that. It just lights up my world like, yes, So to me, it's all about how the users feel when they use the app, right? And that directly affects how I feel. That is my joy. When I see their world light up, when I see their problem solved, that is my joy on Expedier, really.
Great, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm congrats on the milestone. We hope that as you keep building and manifesting your expectations, I can use that word for the app. Things will continue to align for you.
Yep.
everyone joining me. My name is Esther Ijewere once again. I am the host for Get Talking with Esther show. And here with me today is Mr. Kingsley Madu. He is the founder of the first Black-led, because I like to call it the way it is,
Oh,
Black-led, Black-owned by pork digital bank in North America. I mean, that is big deal. And he's Nigerian. Listen, that's like more than big deal for us, going by the fact that our country has a particular image and there's somebody out there who is rebuilding that image to say we are a people of integrity. You can trust us with your money and go to bed. And Mr. Kingsley is also, he has a male, immense platform, which I want to know more about today as well. I would want to know more about that today. He's also a top speaker. He has impacted thousands of lives through webinars, seminars, and conferences, facilitated through his affiliations with Toastmasters International, Rotary International, and several organizations. Rome was not built in a day. That's all I'm saying. His profile is telling you Rome was not built in a day. So, and of course, Mr. Kingsley Madu is happily married to the love of his life, Bola Madu, and they are blessed with two great children. You see, we do big things here. It's a balanced thing, right? And of course, when a man is out there, putting his effort into something, and there's a powerful woman behind the scene who is also supporting her husband, that is the kind of things we're advocating for in the community. That is what we want to see in the world. So, Mr. Kingsley, thank you once again for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure for having me. Thank you.
So before we go into the whole Expedier thing, I want to know the men's club, because I want to know what you all discuss. What do you all discuss?
Okay.
What's platform about?
So we've got a men's group. It's exclusively men, but sometimes we bring in the women, but it's exclusively men, right? And we talk about empowering men in the society today, right? Empowering men to be better husbands to start with, right? Empowering men to be better fathers, right? And empowering men to be better influencers in their society, right? Generally speaking, right? And so we look at all kinds of things that empower men, right? From the psychological to the financial to the spiritual, right? And of course, there's a bit of the word of God involved and a bit of prayer involved as well, right? So it's not just the talk, right? And that's practical. We look at for ways that we can practically apply the things that we're learning, right? So it's not just talk. But yes, we discuss a lot of things, right? We look at real life issues and real life scenarios, and we find solutions to those stemming from the Word of God, right? Ultimately, it's a platform that, as I said, it helps to bring out the best in man, right? And helps us to realize that we are unstoppable. Bottom line, right?
Thank you. Yeah. That's powerful. I love the prayer parts of it all, because that's a very, very important part of it. So now let's go back to Expedier, which I'm very, very excited about. What inspired you to create the app? I really want to know at what point did you sit down to say, I want to do something for the Black community in North America. I want to create this app to make digital banking easy peasy for us. Kindly let us know what inspired you to start the app.
So a little bit of background, right? Prior to immigrating to Canada, I've had the humbling privilege of living and working in over 15 different nations of the world globally, right? So I kind of I've traveled far and wide, right? North America, US, Middle East, Asia, as far as India, and a lot of places across Africa. And so when I was immigrating to Canada, in my mind, I'm prepared for whatever Canada will throw at me. I'm ready. What else can they give me, right? So, but I was humbled. It was a humbling experience. I was super humbled, right? Right from at the airport. So my car hailing app stopped working because it said, hey, you need a local card for it to function. I'm like, but I've used this card everywhere else in the world, right? Anyway, I managed to find my way out of the airport, even though my being stranded actually started at the airport. I got to the hotel, and the hotel says to me, "Oh, we cannot honor your reservation because you do not have, as you can guess, a credit card on file."
Oh.
And here I am. My wife and kids were in the car. They are sleeping. They've flown for hours. And as the man, I'm supposed to make sure that they wake up into a room settled and all that. And here you're telling me that I cannot find a room for my family. So anyway, I essentially started to plead and beg with them. And then the manager steps out and he says, "Hey, there's nothing we can do." Like, no, something has to be done. And then there was an ATM machine somewhere at the hotel, and then it says, "Okay, if you can pay with cash, we will accept." Under that, okay, but I was mandated to pay for like 3 to 4 days in advance as security deposit. Right. So, anyways, I got in there, got the money, paid. Right. I could not rent a car for the same reason. When I finally walked to the place where I was supposed to rent a house, the landlord told me, "Without 6 months of credit history, we cannot rent you a house." And at that point, I was stranded. Like, so what? Did I do a mistake coming in here? Right? And so I walked to the bank and I said, "Okay, bank, look, my landlord says that I need credit history and that credit history starts from the bank. So please, can you give me credit history?" And they said, "Well, it starts from opening a bank account." Like, "Okay, let's open one." And they said, "Do you have a house address?" And I said, "No." They said, "Well, we can't open you a bank account except you have a house address." So here I am. I can't get a house address because I don't have a relationship with the bank for 6 months. But I can't even get a relationship with the bank because I don't have a house address. Like, who built this system? It's convoluted, right? And I gave up and I went back to the hotel and I told my wife and kids, "Pack your bags, we're going back." Right? And then that night, of course, in the place of prayer, I just got some inspiration to call some number, and I called, and a friend drove all the way from Ottawa to Waterloo to come help us out and all of that, right? And then that was how we now started to survive. And then I figured, like, what went wrong? Like, what did I do wrong, right? Is it just me? Did I not plan efficiently? And then I realized that it wasn't just me, right? It's the way the system is essentially built, okay? And statistics has it that over 8.5 million people in Canada are going through this challenge in one form or the other, right? And at that point, I'm like, no. Initially, I wanted to solve it for myself, but then I realized that no, this problem is actually bigger than me. This solution is for 8.5 million people. In fact, the same statistics has it that in the next 10 to 15 years, that number will double to over 20 million people who will be facing this same problem in one form or the other. And then I said, okay, this is my eureka moment. I know finance, I know technology. I can marry the two of them and build out Expedier to make it a whole lot easier for our people to get access into the banking needs, particularly because the way we bank is different from the way North America banks. As African immigrants, we still have roots tied back home.
Yes.
Right? But the banking system is fractured. It doesn't allow for you to carry your bank, as it were, anywhere you go, right? And that was the first thing we needed to solve at Expedier, to say, you know what, irrespective of where you are or where you are going to, you need to have your bank in the palm of your hands.
Yes.
Right? Banking needs to evolve beyond brick and mortar walls, right? I shouldn't be worried today that I'm going to Europe and I'm wondering about how do I do with money, right? And so with Expedier, we essentially solve that problem. Irrespective of where you are hoping to go, you have your bank in your hands. The bank in Africa, the bank in the US, the bank in Europe, wherever it is, right? And so it makes it a whole lot easier for you to ease in and find the solution you want. So yeah, that was my eureka moment that led me to building that Expedier, to say there has to be a solution somewhere for these problems
to be solved. That's a powerful one. I can see people in the comments also saying, wow. Like I was really into the story, especially knowing fully well, like, you had to provide solution to your family in that moment. And, thank God that moment you flip the pain into something powerful now that has now become a purpose for you and your team, and of course, ultimately your family. So I want to say, was this situation, what led you to create the app specifically for the Black community?
Yes. So because part of that research, as I said, right, was this. So as I mentioned, 8.5 million people are underbanked or understaffed, right? And about 60% of that 8.5 are BIPOC. They are people like you and I.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I solved the problem for myself, I said, why be selfish? Right? There's a whole lot more people who are going through this same problem. Let us solve it for the greater good, for the greater people, right?
Yes.
And so that's essentially what led me, and I began to realize that to a great degree, right? There were some sort of systemic barriers, right, that prevented the BIPOC from really, being fully banked, so to speak, right? And I figured, I said, okay, and there are a lot of things. I mean, the barriers could range from the language, even feeling fearful, like me, this bank, how, what, like, I just need something small and all of that, right? Because of our mindset. And then I figured, I said, okay, it is time, therefore, to build this app that speaks our language, that understands our pain, that understands how we want to bank, and allows us to bank the way we want to bank, right?
Amazing. And that's powerful. And so how does this align, how would the Black community, benefit from this vision on the long run? What are some of the opportunities, for the Black community where you have?
So I'm going to talk to the immediate ones, and then I will also speak to the future ones, right? Okay. And whereas I don't have the time to talk about all of the great things, I'm just going to speak to a few things, right? Just a few things, right? So one of the things that we currently have right now on the app that's gone live is the fact that, okay, I'm going to speak particularly, right, to us in Nigeria, or from Nigeria, right? And of course, in the US as well, it's there and live. It's that I can bring in my US banking or my Nigerian banking into the app, or the app gives me one, essentially, right? And so on one hand, I have my Nigerian banking, and then on the other hand, I have the Canadian or the American banking all in one app, right? And so I don't need a multiple of banking apps to serve my banking needs. I've got it all in one place. So if I want to bank locally in Nigeria, I can do that. If I want to bank locally in the US, I can do that. If I want to bank locally in CAD, the Canadian, I can do that. All from one app, and I don't need multiple of apps. Now, the beauty of it is that beyond being able to bank locally in any of those jurisdictions, because all of the accounts are essentially living under one umbrella, under one app, the Expedier app, it's a whole lot streamlined and easy for me to move funds around each of those accounts. So I can easily move my USD to my CAD to my NGN, or vice versa, my NGN to my CAD to my USD, or my CAD to my NGN to my USD. It's so streamlined and happens in seconds. Like, wow, right? So that's one of the big things we've got going. And then on top of that is the cards, right? The cards that's there, and essentially allows you to use that card pretty much anywhere you want to use it online, right? Amazon, for example, eBay, Netflix, and the likes of that, right? But here comes the real big juice. Recently, we launched mortgages for the Canadian users, right? And why is this a big deal? Again, because of the lack of credit history, many of us that want to buy our house outright, we can't, right? You have to wait, you have to rent, right? And as you know, renting does not help us build that same credit history that we don't have in the first place.
Yes.
Right? It doesn't. So it's a total loss for us. So that involves 3 steps to solving that problem. The first is that right now on the app, we've made it so streamlined that within 3 months, irrespective of your credit history, you can get your house if you're serious. So it's a fast track plan that helps immigrants get into their dream homes in as little as 3 months. Today in Canada, we're the first to be launching that. It doesn't exist before, right? That's number 1. Number 2, for any edge instances where the person still has to rent or has been renting, right? We're in talks with Equifax to help you report that rental right, into Equifax so that it's helping you build credit history. And that's going live soon as well on there, right? So as you're renting, you are building credits and it's really serving you ultimately, right? And then even if you are renting or you have to rent and you have to wait, say 6 months or 1 year, we can already key you into your dream home and begin building it for you 1 year in advance so that when you're finally done renting, voila, your home is ready and you just move in. Brand new homes built for you, right? That is already active on the app. That's what we've launched. That's one of the things that's gone out, right? And then, of course, a whole lot more other stuff that we are releasing every day. As I mentioned earlier, we are also releasing auto insurance, right? That allows you to insure your car at rates you can't get out there in the market. We negotiated that for our people, right? To say, you know what, let's make it a whole lot easier. And as you know, one of the problems why we have to pay higher rates, it's because the insurance system does not recognize our previous driving history.
Yes.
Right? So what we are now saying is that, you know what? Forget all of that. Irrespective of your previous driving, I mean, not irrespective, but we would look into your previous driving history and translate it to what is applicable here and help you get better rates for your auto insurance. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but
yes.
Let me take it at that.
Yes, and I want to also compliment what you said, about the app, because this week I was all about my user experience with my friends at Eden Center. I'm like, girl, I gotta try this. You guys even gave me Providos bank account. I didn't even need to stress. So you all, and it's also for those in Nigeria. So don't think it's just for those in North America. If you are in Nigeria and you need an Expedier account, it also works for you. So if you want somebody to transfer money, they don't need to go to build a chain. Let them leave the story now. All that story of no, from Expedier, I changed money. I changed money. Like, what is the exchange rate? So let me take money out. This is money for the Black community. And the exchange rate is very, very fair. Believe me, very fair. Right? So I had my user experience this week with the card. I had my user experience with using it at the store. I was just smiling, chicky, chicky, chicky with my phone. Like, after every store I went to, I was really proud to let people know, like, yo, it's owned by a Black person, Yeah, it's owned by a Black person. I'm like, oh, can I trust it? Exactly. If
Absolutely.
you can trust other platforms, why can't you trust it to you?
Absolutely.
And so for those of you who also have children abroad who are schooling, and you have the challenges of payment of the tuition fees, you got to go. It's soft. From the app, you just have to send the money directly. Exchange the money. They give you a bank account if you don't have a Nigerian account already. If you need them to send to your child's Canadian account, directly to the account. Easy peasy. There is no what's that thing they call auxiliary account. You need to provide I know they ask for a lot of things when you want to send money from abroad. There are some codes they ask you in the Nigerian bank. You don't need to do all of that. Believe me. So download the app if you want to have the experience, to experience it yourself. For me, I was excited, and you can see from because I go hard for my community, And when Mr. Kingsley told me, I'm like, okay, let me try this thing myself. Let me try it. And right now, I don't even need to bother about my Canadian account anymore. Everything is just in one space. Easy. So instead of you going from one app to the other, on one app, you can actually connect to all your banks and then send money internally or even externally to other people. So, Mr. Kingsley, the next question I want to ask you is about there's a feature on the app that I want us to describe. I think it's the FX feature. There's a new feature on the app that I would love you, to discuss and tell me. You're trying to tell me about it, but I want you to explain to those who still don't have an experience with the app yet.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm happy to speak to that as well, right? But before I even talk about that, there's something you mentioned earlier about tuition and payment and all of that, right?
Yes.
I'm happy to say that today we've launched global tuition or global bills payments, right?
Wow.
And what does that mean? It simply means that from the comfort of your home or from your app, Expedier app, you can pay bills anywhere in the world. Wow. So you could be in Nigeria and be paying tuition for your your child, your word, that is in the US or that is in Canada, easy peasy. Like
And
you go in, you search for the school name will pop up, you put all the information, and wham,
the money is there.
the
The
money is
money
there.
is there. Thank you
The
for
money
sharing
is
that
there.
very important
The money is
information.
there.
For those
Yes,
who are
the
going to
money is
watch
there.
this later,
Yep.
so this is for our community, and for us, for those who don't understand what it means to support a Black community here. We are considered a minority oftentimes, and when we have things like this, if we don't promote it, nobody's going to promote it for us. So we need to support our own, right? And what Mr. Kingsley has done is to say, listen, I am bringing something to make life easy. The mortgage plan, if you live in Canada, you know what it means. Credit check is a thing here. And it's saying you don't need to go through all that hustle of credit check. From this app, you can build your credit. From this app, you can be eligible to buy a property in Canada. Now, please let us go to the feature so that folks can
Yep.
learn more about it.
And so the swap functionality, right? It's revolutionary, and every day a lot of people ask me. I was in a meeting yesterday with some bank, and they mentioned that same functionality. They're like, we noticed this feature on your app. What is it about? Tell me about it. And I began to talk about it. They were like, what? It's like, they were intrigued, like, how does it work? So the one way I can explain it, just to bring it down on our level, right, is that the swap functionality, it's a functionality that connects all of your accounts on the app together. Okay, on demand. Okay, on your request, it connects all of your accounts together. Okay, and allows you to easily, now, don't get me, not to send money to somebody, but to send money to yourself from account to account. Okay, so from account to account. So, for example, you've got the Canadian account, right? You could easily send, say, $200, right, from your own account to your Nigerian account instantly, and you will get that value in Naira immediately. Instantly, no questions asked. And this happens in as little as 5 seconds.
Yes.
Right. And that value is created for you and is there on your Nigerian account. And then, from your Nigerian account, you can pay bills. You can buy recharge card. You can buy data. You can buy DSTV. Right. You can. All of that is there, and you can also send it out to anybody. Right. In Naira. Okay. In Naira. And so that swap functionality kind of ties up all your accounts in one, right? And allows you to seamlessly just move that money from one account to the other in real time in as little as 5 seconds.
Powerful.
In as little as 5 seconds.
Powerful. And I also know that you recently you were nominated as a top 12 fintech.
No, let's say 12. Let's say 12. This one I'm going to address very well. Let's say 12.
Please, flaunt it.
So what had happened was that the application went out, right, asking for all of the fintech, whatever, in the nation to apply. And so reluctantly we applied. And the reason is because you're Black, but we applied. And then we were informed that over 150 applications were received nationally, right? And that they will review that and let us know how we did. And then a few weeks later, they'll reply back and said, out of the 150 applications, we made it to the top 25. So essentially, they screened out 125 applications, and we made it to the top 25. And then after further review, right, another half of that were screened out, and they were left with the top 12, and we made it to that top 12. So right now in Canada, we have been officially recognized as a top 12 fintech in the entire nation, right? The entire nation. It's not a small feat to come easily. I can guarantee you that it is not a small feat to come easily at all.
It's
right.
Not.
And when we go out there and they ask us, They were wowed at what we are building, at the thought behind what we are building, at the problem that we are trying to solve, and how big that problem is, right? Which is why, of all the others that applied, they looked at us and said, no, 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 these guys, you're doing something fantastic here.
Amazing. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing that. And that's really a big feat. For those of us who are here, we know what it takes for you to be recognized. People go for different pitch awards and nomination, and they're not even picked at all. You don't even make it to top 100. So to even be recognized as top anything, it is big deal, and we are going to make noise because this is for our community.
Yep.
This is for our community. But I want to ask you, Yoruba people always say, "Obe tó ń dùn, owó ló pa."
I
That's what
know.
people always say, and I know that there is no feat without its challenges. So, what were some of the challenges that you experienced in the course of building the app, and how did you navigate it?
Wow. One of the things I'm going to say to you is that there's nothing like overnight success, right? It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. There's not like overnight success. The first few years were utterly painful, like brutal painful. Not to say it's reduced, but it was brutally painful, right? We had to pay the price in all the ways you could pay a price, right? Back then we were not even bold to say that we are building a digital bank. Like, hello.
I know.
We were not even bold to say we are building a digital bank. It was, nobody would want to work with us back then from the simple fact that you're Black, right? They look at you with, can we trust you? Can we work with you, right? And so we were knocking on all kinds of doors, and we were always receiving nope, we can't work with you. It was just that bad, right? And we were wondering, and you can't build in isolation, right? You can't build alone, right?
Yep.
And so it was really painful for us, so to speak, right? But then we persevered, right? We kept at it.
You are muted. Oh, sorry. I don't know. I don't think it's from my end. You are muted. I don't know if it's from my end though. Yes, please check the mic again. Yeah, I think
Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Not yet. Okay, let me
You're
see
back
what's
now.
going on with my mic.
Yeah, you're back.
Can you hear me? Right?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yes. And so we kept on building, and you know what they say, right? Ultimately, you will be rewarded. And so it was a huge moment for the team when Google announced us to the whole world. Right? It was a huge moment for us when Google announced us to the whole world. When Google unveiled us, it was the unveiling for me, right? So beyond the top 12 recognition, Google essentially picked us up, right, and said, you know what, we would love to partner with you. We would love to accelerate what you're building, right? We would love to accelerate what you're building. And then they went out there and put us on the Google blog and say, this Black founder. And I was like, oh my goodness, like you really have to nail it on the head, right? And what that essentially did was it gave us instant validation. Right? It took away all of those doubts, all of those blockades, right? And then it's a whole lot easier when I go and knock on some doors. I knock now with my full chest. I'm knocking and it's a whole lot easier, right? But then the first few years were really painful because nobody wanted to be the one to validate. Nobody wanted to be the one to take that risk on us, right? But as we build, and as even the people that we're building for, as they begin to learn about us, right, and begin to support and begin to be a part of that story, right? It makes it a whole lot easier for everybody at the end of
it. Amazing. Where do you wish to see Expedier in the next 5 years?
Beautiful question. So a lot of times I get asked this question in some form or the other, right? Recently I was asked by some folks that
Mm-hmm.
other digital banking startups are struggling. Why do you think you will not struggle? And I
Mm-hmm.
told them one big truth. I said, look, the other digital startups are hoping to provide banking services to people that are already well banked. That's it. For us, it's not the same. We are not providing services to people that are already well banked. We are providing services to people that are underbanked, underserved.
Mm-hmm.
And that continues to grow, right? Statistics Canada has it that that number is going to more than double in the next 10 years to over 20 million people. And so, as that number is doubling, we want to be at the forefront of those people. We
Mm.
want to be their go to. We want to become a household name. They say, you never hear of Expedier, you JJC or you the Jones, right? So, to speak it in our African style,
Yes.
right? But ultimately, we want to become that global brand because we're certainly building a global bank. Then
Yeah.
a lot of people ask me, but that's not how you build a bank. Like, excuse me, no bank that you started today started one day and they became,
Big.
it started small, they grew, right? And so for us, growth is at the forefront of what we're doing. But
Amazing.
ultimately, in that next 5, 10 years, we want to become a household name that people can identify with and say, yes, this is solving big problems for
Big
me and my
problems.
family.
Mm. Powerful. Thank you so much for that. And I love the way you tailored that, to say this is the niche. And that's powerful. We are not serving everybody. We are serving the underserved. We're serving the people who really need this, the people who would take the dream, to the next level. And by so doing, you're making all of us a stakeholder in the vision. We are all stakeholders. For every time we use the app, we are stakeholders because we are not just supporting the app, but we are making sure we keep the dream alive. And it is my hope that it's going to grow beyond even your own imagination, because sometimes God would take that dream you're looking at as a small thing, and then He would place it in spaces that even your legs have not been to. Then you start wondering, and that is the power of consistency. And you've shown that over the years to say you started this thing 4 years ago, but now you are getting the recognition, you are getting your deals, the deals that you've paid over time. Now, before we round up, I want to just ask you this question. There are a lot of young people out there who are also building apps, who are open to create something to solve a problem in the world. What advice would you give to them?
I can give them lots of advices, but I'll streamline it to maybe two or three, right? Entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you that for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are times you would wake up and you would feel like you are in the worst valley.
Mm.
There are times you would wake up, you would think that you're on top of the world. One
Mm-hmm.
thing I tell them is take care of yourself and your mind. Okay, take care of yourself and your mind.
Mm.
It's not for the faint-hearted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself and your mind. And as an extension of taking care of yourself and your mind, I tell people, um, our life is essentially the sum total of all our beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you believe you can, you can. If you
Yep.
believe you can't, you cannot. It's
Yeah.
simple, right? And so, as an extension of taking care of your mind, take care of your belief system, right? What you
Mm.
believe. And one of the things I try to tell everybody, which is actually not even me trying to be inspirational,
Mm-hmm.
we are literally unstoppable,
Mm-hmm.
like jokes apart. And I tell people, believe that because you are unstoppable. And then lastly, you cannot build in isolation. Create that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Make our time to create that union, that partnership, that
Mm-hmm.
friendship, right? That you need to have people like-minded who believe in your vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is going to and willing to support you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You cannot do it alone all by yourself. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough already. Why
Mm.
do you want to kill yourself overnight,
Mm-hmm.
right? So those would be my three advice to anybody who is hoping to start out and solve big problems, right? And there's a whole lot of big problems that we can solve.
A whole lot. Believe me. I mean, if you didn't create Expedia, we wouldn't even recognize that we needed this in the community. And when I found out that it's the first black owned, black led digital hub. I said to myself, really? There was a loophole, there was a vacuum, someone didn't pick that up. Someone didn't think about it. So there is always a problem to solve in the world, like Mr. Kingsley said. There's always something. You just need to be intentional, and you also need to be kind to yourself while you're building, right? Be kind to yourself, because the world wants you us to rush the solution, provide the solution very quickly. Take your time. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint-hearted. Some days you won't feel like yourself, but every day just get up and play your part and do something different in the world. So please, before you wrap up, I just need you to drop some, from those your men discussion, some aspire to perspire to put us in the mood of not retiring.
Not retiring, right? Okay, so
something for for people to encourage folks out there, not even those in the tech industry, but just generally, because this is a dream that you've built. There are a lot of people out there who have dreams, who have vision, and they might even have the support, but they don't have that drive because of certain situations around them. So just a kind word for for those people in general.
You're going to make me go into the Bible.
Please.
So when Moses was leading the Israelites out of Egypt, right? There was something phenomenal about Moses. Pretty much all the miracles, in quote, that he did with a rod.
Yeah.
Right. He would strike the water. He would do this. He would wave it. It was almost as if just wave your hand. Moses said the thing would just happen, right? And so when Moses was about to go and Joshua was going to take over, Joshua was so afraid that in Joshua chapter 1, God told him about 3 times, be courageous, don't be afraid. And then he was still, shaking. And then God told him, say, you know what, as I was with Moses, so I will be with you. Okay, at least settle it that as I was with Moses, right? So I'm going to be with you. And so it's good. Okay, that means as Moses was waving hand and waving rod, me too, I will go out there and wave hand and I'll wave rod. But then the second challenge that he had to face was the walls of Jericho. And Joshua would have thought, okay, if I near the rod, if I touch the wall will just collapse and fall. But then God told him, this is the strategy. You will walk around this wall every day, once a day for 6 days. And then on the 7th day, 7 times. Wait. Hold on. What happened to the road? Why am I not waving my hand? Why is this thing so hard? Why did Moses not walk around anything? Right? I thought you said that you were with Moses, so you would be with me. So why is this one different? Right? Because Joshua had gone out to send spies to look at but those spies, they do nothing. They returned, and the information they gave was almost useless. They didn't use it, right? And so one of the things I tell people, I say is this: look, sometimes you will face the walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
Be ready to walk. You will walk 1 time, it won't fall. You will walk 6 days, it won't fall. On the 7th day, you will walk 7 times, and it still will not fall. And it's when you are tired and spent that you will still have to shout again on top of the walk you've walked. And maybe that is when it will fall. But be ready.
That's a deep one there. That's a very deep one there. That's a very deep one. Thank you so much for leaving us with that. And just a quick recap for those who are just joining and for those who are going to watch this later on. Expedia is available on iOS and Play Store. And, like Mr. Madu explained, you can do everything on Expedia. You can download it in Nigeria, in the US, Europe, and all parts of the UK, I believe, as well. And you also have, listen, there is something about the app that surprises me. Yesterday, it wasn't yesterday, it was a few days ago. I was trying to transfer money and then they just opened an account for me, like on the go like that. I needed to do something and I got a new bank account. So I didn't need to start providing ID card, provide this, provide that. The moment you have an account with Expedia, your information automatically goes, like a verification to enable you open those other accounts, and you can connect all your accounts with it. So I'm hoping that some of you, my followers, are going to let me know your experience. I want to know your user experience when you download the app. Tell me about it inbox. I want to post the feedback. We need to support our community. For us in Canada, once again, this is a big deal for Expedia to be, one of the top 12 fintech brand in the whole of Canada. Canada is big, it's no beans. We are speaking provinces, communities, and they say, listen, you all, we see your hard work, we recognize your hard work. So for you watching today as well, support people in the Black community. When you see a Black person doing something, let us come together and support one of our own. Mr. Kingsley, thank you so much for today. Thank you for your time.
Let's make it easy for people to hop on, right? So if you get on the app today, tomorrow, right, and you sign up with my referral code, I'm being generous here, King6006.
Mr. Kingsley, wow, your own referral code. Listen to my own.
Oh my goodness. We're throwing out some offers out there, right? King6006. And everybody who signs up is going to get $10 off of us for free.
Hey.
$10 off of us, right? Again, it's King6006.
Yeah, Kingsley. Yep. Kingsley 6006, right?
Just King, King, right? 6006.
Okay. All right. Yes. So you for those who are here now, grab that referral code and use it to get $10. And of course, if you're in Nigeria, you're going to get the equivalent of that amount in Naira. Am I correct, Mr. Kingsley?
Correct.
You get the equivalent of that amount in Naira. And then, of course, you also have the opportunity to refer people. So for every time you refer people on the app, just like he's giving you $10, you will get $10. And when they make like a lot, there's a huge transaction. I believe there's also a $200, like, right? Am I correct? So listen, it is not just you using the app. It is also you making money on the go when you refer people. So it's a win-win at the end of the day. You are a user and then you're referring people. You are inviting your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, like, hey, use my referral code, to open this, to open your account. And of course, you get your $10 easy peasy in your account. Thank you once again. Somebody asked a question. So before you go, the person said, is it available in Spain? The person just sent you to my WhatsApp.
Good question. It's available in Spain. You can get it, right? And because Spain is part of the European Union, right? And we've got the Euro account on that as well, the Euro wallet, right? Okay. And so it's available in Spain. You can get it. It's available across Euro, the UK, North America, and of course Nigeria, right?
Nigeria.
Yes.
All right. So I hope that answers that for the person that asks if you are watching live or you're going to watch this wherever you're watching from. Have a beautiful, beautiful Saturday and a beautiful weekend. My regards to your amazing wife and your lovely kids. Please keep keeping on, keep the fire on in the community. You are inspiring and perspiring all of us so that we don't retire.
I know, right?
Energy. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you. Let me just acknowledge a couple of people in the comments. Thank you, Adesunbo Adeoye. I saw you join earlier on. Thank you, Olawi Olubanke. Thank you, Lola Day. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Patience. Wahid. Thank you, Blessing. God bless you all for taking your time out today, to join and watch this. Have a beautiful one, everyone. Bye for now, Mr. Kingsley. Please
thank you for having me. Bye-bye. Bye.